Welcome to episode 10 of VXI Conversations Season 2. This is your host, Jamie Fournier, signing in for another insightful discussion with all of you. Last week, we were very lucky to talk about a pandemic proof leadership with Sir Jay Tonko, the first ever site director to guest on our podcast. We've learned straight from Sir Jay that if there's anything this pandemic has taught him, it is that his leadership was able to power through such an unprecedented time, all because he had the right leaders by his side. And we couldn't agree more. There is indeed strength in numbers, more so if the numbers are guided and driven by the same passion for people. For this episode, we will get to meet two budding leaders who will discuss with us their own definitions of the term career success. Let's all give a warm welcome to Knoll, Santiago, and Melay Devera of the Talent Acquisition Corporate Recruitment Team. Hi, Knoll. Hi, Melay.
Hi,
Hi,
Jamie.
Jamie.
How are you doing today? It's so wonderful to have you on the podcast, by the way. How are you, Knoll?
All good for today. Thank you.
Okay. What about you, Melay? How are you doing?
I'm very good, Jamie. How are you doing?
I'm excited to talk about this because I think it is very important to define career success to be able to push forward with your career path. I think that's one of the first steps you need to take. Define it. But before we talk about our topic for today, Nal and Melai, kindly introduce yourselves to our viewers and listeners out there and talk about your experience in the BPO industry, especially VXI Philippines. Let's start off with Melai.
I started with the BPO industry. I don't want to say it. I sound so old, but it's 2008. It's
It's
14 years
okay.
ago.
Mhm.
So I started off. I started off with a different sector. I came from the academic setting, and fortunately, I got hired in the BPO company around 2008. I was hired
Mhm.
already as a recruiter because I had a previous experience, and now I've been a recruiter ever since.
Nice. Okay. And don't say you feel so old because I started in this industry, although I'm not in it anymore completely, in 2005, 2006, I believe. So now I feel older. But anyway, you're the perfect person to talk to because you've had extensive experience in this industry. But again, we still have another beautiful guest with us today. So, Nal, what about you? Introduce yourself and talk about your experience in this industry we all love.
So, my name's Knoll. I'm a senior officer for the corporate talent acquisition team. I would like to say that I'm a homegrown talent because my first work was actually already in the BPO industry. So, I've been around for, I would say, around 11, 12 years. But with
Wow.
VXI, I've been with the company for 6 years now. So, turning seven in August. So yeah,
Yay.
I'm a homegrown
Advanced
BPO talent.
congratulations. I love
Thank
it. I love
you.
it. So again, I think you both are perfect individuals to talk to when it comes to career success, especially in the context of the BPO industry. And that is what we're all here for today. On this episode, we aim to define career success and what it means to both of you. And hopefully, through that, we can help others out there define that for them as well career success. So, Mela, you mentioned you started in 2008 in the BPO industry. But let's go back even before that. When you started working as an employee, what did career success mean to you in the first place?
Right. So when I was younger, I was heavily influenced by, my parents and my older relatives, your aunts and uncles, and they would always say they had this view of what career success is, and
Mm-hmm.
that just equated to one thing, and that's landing a high paying job. So it really was just about money and being impressionable that I was very young. I adapted that kind of view, and I just
Mm-hmm.
thought to myself when I graduated, I have to have a high paying job for me to be considered as a success. So it is very one dimensional, very limiting
Mm-hmm.
view of what a career success is. So that was my introduction to that idea or to that notion.
That is so relatable, though, Malay,
Right.
because I think a lot of us have been taught that kind of thinking that career success would mean earning a lot of money. And as you said, it's very one
Right.
dimensional, Null, but we'll learn more about why it is one dimensional later on. What about you, Null? When you were starting out as an employee, what was your definition of career success?
So my first job was in the BPO industry, and for me, career success was just being able to do the job.
Mm,
Since it's a new industry, I was a fresh graduate. So for me, it was just being able to do what was being asked for me and
mm-hmm,
doing well, being recognized for it. For me, that was already a success. I was
mm-hmm.
already fulfilled doing what I was asked to do.
So it's very interesting because it's from two different perspectives. The influence of your family at Melai, that is to earn more, to be able to be called successful. And then for Null, it's to fulfill the role, to be able to complete the job. And that was career success. Now that you
Mhm.
have more than a decade of experience under your belt, Null and Melai, I don't mean to make you feel older, but that's a good thing actually to have more than a decade of experience in this industry. What has it done to your definition of career success? Is it still the same or has it changed? Let's start off with Melay. Before it was earning more. What about now,
Definitely,
Melay?
yeah, definitely it changed. Knowing what I know now, and being exposed to a lot of people outside of my circle. Three
Mm-hmm.
things that I observed for career success. Number one is just loving your job, liking at
Mm-hmm.
the very least, the very least is liking the job that you do on a daily basis. You don't need external forces or people to motivate you to do the things that you
Yeah.
have to do on a daily basis. Second would be just utilizing your God-given talents and your skills that you have amassed through the years, and you're happy to use them at work. And third, in relation to my answer earlier, and that was the financial gain that you get out of the job, it takes a back seat. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't, um, it's not the topmost reason on why you do your job in the first place. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those three elements really help change or shape of what I or how I view the career success now.
That's amazing. To love the job you have, to utilize the skills you have amassed through the years. And also the financial aspect is of course there because there's your family to sustain and etc. But I love that you say now that you're a bit older and more experienced, you it takes a back seat. It's not all about the money, it's all about your love for the job. What about you, Noel? If before it was about fulfilling the role and the tasks at hand, that was career success for you, how has that changed through the years?
Well, now it's not just about me. Since I'm a senior officer, I'm already handling a couple of folks. Now, success for me is being able to replicate myself. And, when the
Mm,
recruiters I'm mentoring are able to pick up the best practices that I share to them, and when other people recognize their efforts, when they get commended, that's fulfilling for me. So for me now, success is being able to see myself in other people.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So it's paying it forward and making sure that others are successful as well. And it's great that you mentioned that because, yes, both of you are leaders now in this industry and in your field. So, as a leader, how do you ensure that career success is attainable for your team members? Now, Nal mentioned for her, it's fulfilling when her team members are a success and are emulating her best practices. What about you, Melay? What would you do and how do you ensure that career success is attainable for your team members?
Right. First things first, I have to know my people. So you need to build that relationship with them. I need to know them professionally, also personally, because it helps me get that information and how to help them and get them on the right track and where they want to go in terms of their
Mm.
careers, making sure that they're fully equipped in their jobs to make them successful in for them to be fully functional individuals at work. So it may be even just the basic computers that they have, the software that they have. As long as it's available within the company, we will readily provide them those tools, making sure that they're confident with their job. So that would mean coaching, mentoring. When it comes to coaching, of course, you have to correct the behavior, the erroneous behavior that they have, mistakes that they commit, and it's part of that. It's part of the learning process. But more
Mm-hmm.
importantly, is you commend them, is to make sure that they are recognized when they do a good job. It's very important that they build that confidence so that they can explore more out of their comfort zone.
Thank you for sharing that, Melay. I sound like a broken record when I say this, but when you were answering that, I was reminded of the many times a lot of leaders have joined us on this podcast talking about being that support system for their team members and really ensuring their career goals, as you mentioned, knowing what support they can give and being able to follow through, maybe in terms of giving constructive criticism and also commending them for what they do well. So I'm so glad that VXI Philippines always ensures that there is that supportive network there. In terms of an employee's career progression, how does your role as a corporate recruiter come into play, Knoll?
So VXI is a proponent of promoting growth from within. So as
Mm-hmm.
recruiters, a big chunk of our pool comes from uh, within the organization. In fact, around 80% are internal promotions and movements to different departments. So we've been successful in providing career growth to our employees. That's
Mm-hmm.
why, as recruiters, we are able to give them that opportunity, whether if they want to move to another department or whether they want to move up the ladder. We serves as the middleman, and we
I love that.
process what you know the path that they want to go into.
Nice. And again, it's really uplifting to know that there are so many career opportunities, and internally, this is really possible. I think also it's important to remind those, especially the ones watching this who are already working in VXI. As Malay and Nal mentioned earlier, also make sure that you're very transparent with your leaders to let them know what your career goals are so they can help you and help you go through the process with the corporate recruitment team in terms of finding the best vacancy for you to move forward with your career. Now, before we wrap up this question, I'm going to ask you both because it was eye opening when you answered the first question earlier. So let's go back to that. If you can talk to your younger self now, what would you tell her about career success? Let's start off with Melay.
Okay. Wow. So, one thing I would advise myself to not be afraid to commit mistakes because that's really part of the process. And number two, don't overthink too much. As I've mentioned, I came from a different setting before. It was my comfort zone. I came from the academic setting, and I had to get out of that comfort zone. And well, me getting out of that comfort zone, I was really depressed and I was lost
Mm.
for like I felt really down for like a couple of months, 3 months. And then luckily I landed a job in the BPO industry in a call center company in that I love the culture. It embraced me. So in hindsight, it was one of the best decisions that I made. And if I didn't do or I didn't get out of my comfort zone, then I wouldn't be here just enjoying the perks of being in a call center company.
Wow. Such an inspiring story. Thank you, Melay. Again, don't be afraid to take that leap. Go out
Right.
of your comfort zone and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Thank you for sharing that. What about you, Nal? What would you tell your younger self who said, well, it's just about completing the tasks at hand? What would you tell her now?
Right. Mine would be more of do not compare yourself to other people. Just do do you. Just do your best, and everything will come into place because
Mm-hmm.
everyone has their own timing, they have their own pacing, and when you're a fresh graduate, since I mentioned earlier that um, uh, the BPO industry is already the first company that I was with. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I would normally check, my batchmates, my classmates, where they're going, what position they're in. So the typical when you're a fresh graduate. But
Mm-hmm.
looking back, I would tell myself that to just do it. Do not compare yourself because you'll have your own time eventually.
You gave me goosebumps because that's so powerful. It's so important to remind everybody out there, including ourselves, every now and then, to do you and not to compare
Right.
yourself to others. Because
Right.
let's face it, at times we do that still. And we really
Right.
have to make sure we remind ourselves to just do us, do what we love, and focus on our growth and not the growth of others. You both are so inspiring. And I think I'm so happy that both of you had the time to join this podcast because this topic is so important. For somebody to be successful in life, we need to be able to define what their respective career success is, what it means to them. And I know that from your answers, a lot of them have gained insight on the definition of career success. Yes, we discussed it today, but at the end of the day, as we've shown in this conversation, career success means a lot of different things to everyone. It could be about landing a high ranking role in a company, earning a lot of money, taking home more than enough for you and your family, yes, or maybe serving as a career and life mentor to your teammates. But whatever your definition is, whatever it could be, one thing is certain. Professional success is always up to you. A big shout out once again to our great experts from the talent acquisition corporate team, Melay and Knoll, for giving us a peek into the inner workings of a leader's great mind. Before we wrap up today's episode, Nal and Melai, do you have any words of
Mm.
wisdom to share with others out there who are probably still starting their career or looking for success within their career paths? What would your advice be for them? Let's start off with Nal this time.
Well, for those who are aspiring to, move up the ladder, just focus on yourself. And especially for the fresh graduates out there, those that are listening, absorb all the learnings you can get and explore all the opportunities that are presented to you. So that way you can assess which career path really suits you, and before you know it, you'll be on your way to becoming a supervisor or becoming a leader. So that's all for me.
Thank you, Nal. What about you, Melai?
Yeah, in relation to what I said earlier, don't be afraid to take the leap. For those who are aspiring to get out of their comfort zones, go, being a corporate recruiter, we handle applications, applying for different positions in the different departments. Just do it. Talk to your
Mhm.
supervisor, right? And make sure that um, you do your best in what you do on a daily basis.
You're both very inspiring. Thank you once again for exploring this topic with me on today's episode. Thank you, Nal, and thank you, Melai. Now, they're both from recruitment. So remember, VXI is excited to have you join the team. Don't forget to check out our career opportunities on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and TikTok at VXIPH. It's down there. Once again, VXIPH. Or send in your resume at careersph at VXI.com. Candidates with or without BPO experience are very much welcome to apply, provided they are a graduate of at least high school old curriculum or senior high school with good English communication skills. We've come to the end of this inspiring episode, but don't fret, this is only temporary as we shall be back for one last hurrah next week. So you better set your alarms and stay tuned. Till then, this is your host, Jamie Fournier, signing off. Take care and stay safe, everybody. Bye. Bye, Nal. Bye, Melai. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
Jamie.